Hey guys, so in the previous video, I posted about inspiration, I explained about the kit, and I talked about Barcarola's kit. I explained inspiration mechanic and talk about Barcarola's kit. So in this video, I will talk about how this team works and who is the core unit solving the problems of inspiration mechanics. So here I have the buffer, which is Barcarola. Voyager, I specify or classify her as the conductor because she directs where the impromptu damage will land on, like which enemy it should attack. So Voyager directs that. And then Matilda, just a crit support, and we have Aleph. We do not know his kit specifically. Generally we do know, but the numbers are not there. How his ultimate works exactly, I also do not know. I just have a rough idea, which we will talk about. But basically, I list him as the debuffer. Okay, so let's start with Barcarola. Right, so I mentioned this in the previous video. So Barcarola increases stat for our party, which also increase impromptu stats and crit damage for impromptu. Ultimate increase impromptu's inspiration, so it can hit more times. And ultimate causes ally to consume Eureka, allowing us to generate more inspiration. And S1 and S2 basically is there to enhance impromptu's damage further. So one thing that she solved is the consistency in getting inspiration for the next round. With her ulti all set up, it's very easy to get high stack of inspiration. So in the next round, when it distribute, you will have more incantations having inspiration. So it gives us better choice to select the incantation that we want to keep up with the rotation of the team, while able to select those with inspiration and leads to better impromptu attack, right? So that is the role of Barcarola. So for Voyager, let us read her Euphoria first. Max Eureka starting, so that is the same as all the other impromptu incantation or the inspiration characters. So that's the same mechanic. But one thing that Voyager do is that for every impromptu attack, the first, third, fifth, and so on, so forth, it will splash, right? It will attack another enemy, but at minus 70% damage. So impromptu damage is 200%. So the one that is splash is 130. Okay. Tier 2 now makes her Eureka, make her incantation consume Eureka, so that will help generate inspiration, and it increases impromptu's attack by 1. So you use her S1, impromptu will attack one more time. You use her S2, impromptu attack one more time. It's the same. And apart from this, impromptu will now attack another target. So you attack 2 targets, splash. Okay, main one, you will attack and splash 2 targets. And for tier 3, her ultimate will inflict orbital direction, which is a negative status. So her ultimate is a single target attack. And if you are fighting against a boss with minions, this is where she becomes very useful because she will inflict this on the boss so that all the impromptu attack will attack that boss and not flying around and hit the minions. Because if you hit the minions, you are losing out damage. That's because usually the minion, you don't really have to attack it and you just want to kill the boss, just like in Raid. So to me, Voyager is one of the core team member in this inspiration team. If you are fighting against enemy that is single target boss with minions. If you are just fighting single target boss without anything, technically you don't really need Voyager. Or you are fighting against 2 enemies that's equally strong and you want all of them to die at the same time, or at least you have to kill all of them anyway, then you don't really need Voyager as well. But she able to splash, cause impromptu to splash, will really contribute to the damage. So even though it's minus 70%, but we need to remember one enemy is 200, now it's splash 130 each. So technically the splash will be in, like, if you add it all up, it will be 260, which is total higher than the main attack itself. So Voyager is very important for that. And on top of that, Voyager add Genesis damage to impromptu. And the Genesis damage is 50% plus 50% of Galaxy's on the strings additional mental damage. So if I'm not mistaken, if you are at P5 Voyager, it's about 500%. And maybe at P0, I don't know, maybe 2 or 300. I'm not sure. We have to check the write-up. But basically, there will be additional mental damage if the enemy is inflicted with confusion. And now this damage will then convert to Genesis damage and 50% of that. So 50% plus, let's say again P5 Voyager 500 additional. So that's additional 250. So 300% Genesis damage is huge. So which means this is the part where the Euphoria, the portrait for Voyager actually matters. Right? It actually matters. Most of other Euphoria, we don't really bother about the portrait because the Euphoria bring so much boost that their portrait is like not important. But for Voyager, it actually does contribute. Right? So that's something to keep in mind. And lastly, at tier 4, the additional mental damage application no longer require confusion, which is awesome, right? So you don't need to inflict confusion on the enemy. You can already get this extra mental damage. And you get additional 8 points when you use ulti. This is the same for Barcarola. I believe all the inspiration will have this same mechanic. When you use your ulti, they will add 8 or more inspiration to impromptu. Okay, not for us to carry on to the next round where it distribute, but this one will add on directly to impromptu's attack. As for Matilda, tier 1 is the same, right? So giving her inspiration and Eureka and things like that. Her using S1, S2 also depletes to Eureka, so can contribute to inspiration. And it will increase the crit rate of impromptu attack by 15%. If this turn impromptu attack reaches 5 inspiration points, then more crit damage, 20%. Tier 2, after we cast any of her skill, if impromptu attack reaches 10 inspiration, even more crit damage. Okay, tier 3, after casting her ultimate, Fleeting Revelation, which is her ultimate, add 8 inspiration to this round in impromptu incantation, which again is the same with any other ultimate, just like Barcarola and Voyager. But on top of that, it adds crit rate 15% and crit damage 50%. Okay, after casting ultimate, if this turn in provides incantation hit 10 inspiration, it is guaranteed to hit. So she really provides a huge boost. I'm not sure like tier 2 at 20%, tier 3 tier 1 20% crit damage, tier 2 30%, tier 3 50%. So total she can give up to 100% crit damage. So which is actually still pretty good, but if your team is already filled up like with all this inspiration team, you have no room for her. I would consider her to be the last significant one because she doesn't solve any problem with the inconsistency of impromptu. So increasing Ink's damage but not solving the inconsistency problem is probably not, you should be solving those inconsistency first, then only worry about the damage. But now the problem is you need Voyager, you need Barcarola, and probably Aleph to solve all this inconsistency problem, leaving Matilda as the last slot. However, if you have all those 3, you don't have a healer. So you would want to at least have a sustain. So Matilda is not a sustain. So which means she is the likely one to be out of the team so far. Or at least most of the rounds that I saw doesn't have Matilda in the team. Now for Aleph kit, Insight 1. Okay, when allies consume Eureka, gain inspiration. When max, okay, this is the same. But the additional thing here is when allies under answer actively attack using incantation, Aleph will consume Eureka. So means if everyone is attacking, Aleph will be consuming a lot of Eureka. So a lot of Eureka consume means a lot of inspiration. He can provide a lot of inspiration to be distributed. Okay, and incantation to inflict interpret. So now he makes impromptu able to inflict a debuff on the enemy, increasing its own attack, because the debuff is mental damage, defense down. And I3, when consuming Eureka, there's a chance to recover Eureka. So because now everyone, like, he can buff everyone with answer, and everyone with answer attacks, then his Eureka will be going down so fast that he needs some form of mechanics to increase it back. So that's where his I3 comes in. So it increases back. So basically this whole insight is to allow him to be able to generate a lot of inspiration to be distributed in the next round. Now, how about his skill? First of all, S1, single mental damage until continuous action. So AP plus 1. Why is AP plus 1 important for impromptu? That's because when you distribute the inspiration, sometimes it goes to some card that you don't want to use. If you have more AP slot, then you can at least waste one of these on those incantation that has inspiration, but technically you don't really want to use it, right? If that makes any sense. Basically, that AP is important to make it more consistent, to harvest those inspiration that has been planted on the incantation. And S2, he gives everyone answer, so now everyone attack, he uses up Eureka, as explained. Answer also increase incantation might, which means impromptu will benefit from incantation might from the characters that you have. Okay, his ultimate is rather interesting. It's self-channel, and Aleph memorized several normal incantations that all allies actively use in this turn and enter hyperthermesia. So hyperthermesia when the channel ends. How long does the channel end? I do not know. Maybe 1 round, maybe 2 rounds, and it will release all memorized incantation and increase number of attack in impromptu's incantation. Impromptu incantation will also inflict interpret to enemy as well. The last attack will deal extra mental damage. Okay, so I believe how his ultimate work is something like Jionyangzi. You use S2 of Jionyangzi's and she entered channel. At the start of the round, she will inflict follow-up. I mean, she will attack with follow-up attacks. So same thing should be for Aleph, like you use the ultimate, so now he's channeling, and during channeling you use as many incantation as you can from your other allies, and at the start of next round he recasts back all of that. Okay, he recasts back all of that, and impromptu will attack even harder by then. So the turn you are using his ultimate, you might not be, the impromptu will not be hitting very hard. But the next turn, after you use even more incantation plus whatever incantation you will use that round, then impromptu will be hitting harder. So imagine that round you have Barcarola using S1, 1 additional attack, and then you have Voyager using S1, S2, then 2 more additional attack, and now Aleph is going to double all of that. Alright, I'm not sure if Aleph using those incantation will also deplete Eureka or not. If yes, then you will have so much inspiration, and probably there's so much that will be distributed in your incantation, and now it doesn't matter which incantation you're gonna use, because every incantation now have 5 inspiration. So again, he is here to make it more consistent and reduce the issue with RNG for inspiration. So overall, the role here, Aleph inflict mental defense down. It gives AP, so more incantation can be used. It increase incantation might. It double all incantation used after casting his ultimate. One more I did not write here. He used up a lot of his own Eureka, contributing to inspiration. Okay, so here's an example I give. If you use Barcarola S1, Voyager S1 and S2, and Aleph S1, this will make impromptu does additional 4 attacks. And with his ultimate, assuming that he still can use his incantation while he is channeling, hopefully. If it doesn't, then yeah, we can't use his incantation. So hopefully it does. With the ultimate, now it doubles to 8 attack, right? But this is like next turn you get additional 4 attacks, and whatever you use next turn, then it added up to that. So total, if you have like 20 stacks of inspiration and psi cube, you can have up to 16 attack. And at 20 stack is like 500 mental damage from inspiration, from impromptu. So overall, 16 attack, 500% mental damage each. And that's huge, okay? He has the potential to really make this team hit really, really, really hard, right? So more incantation used equals to more Eureka consume, more inspiration. If we can hit 40 inspiration, then all incantation will have 5 inspiration. Again, that is what I meant. You don't have to bother about which one you want to use. You can use any one that you want. So now we just have to ensure that their rotation is right. Their ultimate is like we get to their ultimate in the correct cycles, okay? And as a summary, so these 4 units, first of all, I think Matilda is just a crit support, so it's not necessary. And then Voyager, she directs impromptu, which is why she's a conductor, to the boss, else there will be a lot of damage loss. So to me, Voyager seems to be a core unit. Barcarola helps in generating inspiration, so it's more consistent. But Aleph also does similar things, that he can help generate a lot of inspiration as well. And on top of that, because of +1 AP, it will make it more consistent to use the right incantation in order to stack up those inspiration on impromptu's attack. Alright, so I think Aleph is a little bit more important in this team compared to Barcarola. So Voyager, Aleph should really make it very consistent to play inspiration team. And now you bring in Barcarola for the damage boost. So I hope this video helps you out in terms of whether should you pull or not. Yeah, so this covers Aleph kit analysis, and I won't be doing any more Aleph videos until he is released, where I will try it out in the Chinese version. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video, and have a good day.